You might think that I am somewhere far away, melted away into the forest, but it's not true. I'm actually in northeastern Warsaw in a place, a borough called Bródno, where we're about to discover the site of the first modern settlement, anyway, in Warsaw. Now, it was created right here in this particularly sheltered area in the forest. So, benefit of being impenetrable to attack, but also on a small river that would make its way into larger tributaries that could then make their way to the Wisła and provide at least, if not water for drinking, water for cooking for sure, and water for boiling. Because you couldn't, drinking the water could make you very ill back then. At any rate, this, where Kasia is filming me from, is the top of a barn that goes around, makes a sort of oblong circle, or an oblong enclosure, we can say, and that is indeed what's left of this fortress from the beginning of the end of the 9th century to the beginning of the 10th century, somewhere in there. That's what they think. Now, the fellows came out here, I guess, about 100 and some years ago. Beginning of the 20th century, this place was discovered, and people thought, oh, well, what is this perfectly formed circle and why? On the edge of a swamp. It looks like a pretty good defensive position. And indeed it is, and you'll see that as we continue our walk around. It's nice and accessible here. You've got the steps walking around. There's water over here, so you don't want to go in that part. It's quite swampy, this forest, but still very beautiful on a lovely day in the autumn. The Polish golden autumn is coming soon to a forest near you, to some trees near you. At any rate, this place is fascinating because there is some sense that this may have been established by Vikings, because of course the Vikings were raiding down into Central Europe, raiding through Eastern Europe as well, as far, Kiev was a Viking founded city. And they used to go down the Dnieper to the Black Sea, and then doing their usual sort of hijinks, robbing, pillaging, and no doubt other things not so pleasant. And then this would have been an outpost on their way, if that's in fact true. We're not exactly sure, but there is a theory that it was Vikings who were here. They found lots of artifacts, and they've been able to, from those artifacts, to reconstruct what life might have been like. Finding, there were several guard posts, towers going around, and inside you would have seen quite a lot of life going on. You can see I'm standing in the middle of this old settlement, Viking or otherwise. So it wasn't huge, was it? But then the people were smaller back then. No, I'm just kidding. It wasn't huge, but it was, the place of last defense. There would have been, settlements outside as well. At any rate, in the late Middle Ages, this was a pretty safe place. There would have been some wooden palisades on the top, wooden towers, and within here you would have had some dwelling places, certainly the main meeting lodge and things like that, and probably stalls with people, where people could pick up what they needed for daily life, mostly food, I would think. The Middle Ages is often called the Dark Ages, and there's a reason. Not a lot happened in terms of change. Things were pretty stable and rather, well, we know more happened now than we used to think, but still, it was called the Dark Ages because there's not a lot written about this time, and actually not a huge amount happened. There wasn't a huge amount of building and things like that, but as you can see, this was a fairly simple settlement, and a long distance away from what was about to happen 100 years from now, which was the beginning of the building of the great cathedrals. For example, on the islands and the river in Warsaw, in the Odra River, and in Poznan, and in when you had the foundation of the Polish state. So this was a fairly basic community. They mostly subsisted on a bit of farming and a lot of gathering, and hunting, of course. That was it. And then some trading. At any rate, it's worth it to come here and dream, to take a walk into the forest, and then stop off and think, well, my goodness, this has been here 1,000 years. And one thing you can say, they built it to stay. They built it to last. This is a serious berm. It's a serious sort of mound extended into this circle that you can see. There's an entrance over here. You don't have to come up over the wall. It is a fine day in the autumn. Dappled sunshine coming through the trees, as you can see. And we're here in the Bródno Forest, very close to this original settlement, which is an historical landmark. Now, this is the swampy area that goes around that settlement, and would have defended it on about 75% of its area, of the walled area, which made it a pretty handy place. And then with a little river nearby, the Bródno River, which has been a canal for some time. With that, they had access to water and to a bit of movement if they wanted to, at least with canoe type or raft type devices, or boats, we could say. I'll just continue my walk, and you can see as I go by, hello, you can see that this is actually a very nice bridge through this swampy area, and makes a nice little part of your walk if you come to the Bródno Forest. So you can come here, see this historical, the place, the origins of habitation, or modern habitation of Warsaw, at least in some permanent sense. And then you can go for a walk through the forest and go right across this bridge. So just come to Bródno Forest for a walk. That's what I recommend. You can come out on the metro if you're visiting Warsaw and you don't have a car, or take a taxi or an Uber, or however you do it, right out here to Bródno, and come walk through the forest when it's a nice day. This is the weekend, and that's always a good time, as you can see.